And there you have it. It's now literal. Prime Minister Narendra Modi finally in the Prime Minister's chair after he was sworn in yesterday. That was ceremonial. And here it is in the flesh. Prime Minister Modi entering the Prime Minister's office for the first time. These are the hallowed four walls where the Prime Minister, the chief executive of the country, governs the nation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the chair right now. There will be a few ceremonies. He's been introduced to all of his staff. These are pictures from a short while ago when he arrived at the Prime Minister's office in South Block on Raisina Hill to the left, right before Rashtrapati Bhavan. It's one of the most protected areas, as you can imagine. And as Rishika was just pointing out, he's moved from his Scorpio, his protected Scorpio vehicle. He's now been driven in the official Prime Ministerial VVIP bulletproof vehicle. It's a level 7 bulletproof vehicle, a BMW 7 Series that was acquired incidentally by the Vajpayee regime. Those vehicles now being used in Narendra Modi's cavalcade. Take a look at these pictures. Narendra Modi is in the Prime Minister's chair.
Well, absolutely. First day, first show, Shiv, as you were saying, and Narendra Modi was welcomed at the Prime Minister's office. He walked to that shelf, as you can see on the side, and in fact offered flowers to a picture of Mahatma Gandhi that one could see, and of course now sitting on that Prime Minister's chair. Boy, what a campaign it's been, what an election it's been, and finally some sort of closure at some level of this election season, with Narendra Modi finally sitting on that Prime Minister's chair, and of course beginning his term as Prime Minister. First day, first show for the 15th Prime Minister of India on your screens right now.
Gaurav, yesterday's swearing in, the campaign, all of those things at the end of the day, were ceremonial. But looking at these live pictures that you're beaming to us, Gaurav, straight from the Prime Minister's office, Narendra Modi entering the Prime Minister's office, sitting in the Prime Minister's chair. Now it's finally hit home. This is Prime Minister Modi and the beginning of Modi Sarkar, Gaurav.
This indeed is Shiv and Rishika, but as Narendra Modi spoke to some of his close cabinet colleagues yesterday after the swearing-in ceremony at Gujarat Bhavan, he said the battle has been won, we still have a war to fight. And he's told his cabinet colleagues that this is not a privilege, this is a responsibility that's been handed over to all of us. All of us have to work for 18 hours every day. That is his first message to his cabinet colleagues, which has filtered out. This is not a party. This is no time to celebrate. This is the time to dedicate yourselves to the work at hand. And he leads by example. Last night, after the private dinner at Rashtrapati Bhavan, Narendra Modi headed back to Gujarat Bhavan, and he didn't crash out for the day. He held a series of meetings with the ministers.
Yeah.
Telling them what their KRAs were, what did he expect of them. And early this morning, he's back at work. He's been briefed extensively, from what my sources tell me, on India's relations with SAARC countries. What my sources are also telling me, it is not Pakistan-centric. While Pakistan will be important, Narendra Modi wants to take this entire region along. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be speaking first to Afghanistan's President Hamid Karzai. It's in alphabetical order that he meets all the leaders,
right.
All the SAARC leaders, and the presidents first, the prime ministers subsequently.
Right, Gaurav, also very interesting day today. It is day one of Modi Sarkar, and as we got pictures of Narendra Modi reaching the Prime Minister's office, we simultaneously were also reporting on the fact that the Pakistani Prime Minister has reached Jama Masjid to offer prayers there before that crucial meeting. So very interesting day, day one, we can say, Gaurav.
Day one, as Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has his task cut out. His interaction with Pakistan's Prime Minister is going to be extremely crucial. Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has made it very clear in as many words that he does not want this trip to be just a photo opportunity.
Absolutely.
It was a statesman-like gesture on the part of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to invite him to India. It was a statesman-like gesture despite the odds in Pakistan, the army and the ISI and terrorists like Hafiz Saeed being against this meeting, the hardliners being against this meeting, and yet Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif came. So we've seen the symbolism is all there. Will they get down to brass tacks? This isn't an India-Pakistan bilateral, but Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif does not want to go back with nothing on the table. And even as we speak, we are told Prime Minister Narendra Modi is about to come out on his way to Hyderabad House. Of course, there is still time. There's movement of his security, but 9:30 those meetings start, and perhaps by 9:15 the Prime Minister would like to be in Hyderabad House. You can hear the whistles, the commotion, because this route is once again being sealed. You can hear the sirens. We do expect Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Shiv and Rishika to make a small statement before he heads out to Hyderabad House, but it remains to be seen whether he has the time for it. And as you can see in these pictures, his BMW 7 Series DL4CB 1111 waiting to carry him to Hyderabad House.
Gaurav is on operational alert, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, he's right there outside the Prime Minister's office, and he's going to get us the latest pictures. Gaurav, we are not moving your camera. We're going to stay with the pictures that you're sending us. As soon as Narendra Modi comes out, our camera will still be fixed on him. So those pictures are going to be non-stop here on Wake Up India. But Gaurav, just stay with me on the phone line if you can. I want to go across quickly to Brijesh Pandey as well, our deputy editor, who's joining us from the location where Narendra Modi left from earlier this morning, Gujarat Bhavan. Brijesh, it's amazing how much suspense can be had over the portfolios. Remember, we've got a fix, and Headlines Today had it first on the top portfolios. But, you know, on all other channels, there's been so much speculation about who's getting what. You know, there have been U-turns. You know, people have sort of gone back on what they said. There's a sense of so much suspense, and everybody's really on tenterhooks, not least all of those people who were sworn in as ministers yesterday. Brijesh.
Well, absolutely. And you know, one of the things which you have to understand is that Narendra Modi has now proven that he's not going to play by rules. Initially, you know, once any party which has won a decisive mandate, you get to know within 72 hours who's getting what.
Yeah.
And given the fragility of the coalition which we witnessed during both UPA 1 and UPA 2, and there were several power centers within the party. But this time Narendra Modi got a very decisive mandate, and the fear of that decisive mandate is clearly visible on everybody's face. After every single newspaper, every single news channel tried to come up with their own cabinet, you know, 72 hours after all kind of speculation which went out, Narendra Modi in Gandhinagar in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat, said that, you know, every single media house is coming up with a cabinet of its own.
Yeah.
Whereas I, the Prime Minister, doesn't even know what my cabinet looks like. So it was very clear that the Narendra Modi style has been embossed, and the fabric of it you can see on the utterances of every single BJP leader. The second you call them, it's all right, till you mention the word cabinet portfolio, and that very second either they cut the call abruptly or they say like, "Arey sir, please go and talk to Modi." It is the Prime Minister prerogative. So the word Prime Minister prerogative has acquired a new meaning in Narendra Modi government, and none of these people who were like, you know, I mean, initially people with sources and been covering party for a while can get to know, but not anymore now.
That's, you know, that's the whole point, you know, Brijesh, the fact that, you know, this suspense is almost like a tactic that's being used. You know, the media might think it has a fix on what's happening, and we here at Headlines Today won't be speculating. We'll be reporting it most accurately, no speculations at all over here. But Brijesh, you know, today there was, you know, journalists got SMSs as well last night about several of those top ministers. You know, times were released about when they would take charge. But even that has completely been washed away now because of how tightly this information is being contained at this time.
Absolutely, Shiv. And if you see the fact that the Minister of External Affairs was also expected to go along with Narendra Modi, and Sushma Swaraj was supposed to, is widely tipped to take over as Minister of External Affairs. Now the new information which is doing the round is that she might accompany Narendra Modi, and but as a minister without portfolio. So one thing is very clear, that he's keeping his cards close to chest. He's keeping everybody on tenterhooks. Nobody can say for sure or take his position for granted. So he is going to unsettle all the late conventions of how the ministry is run, how the bureaucracy functions. His schedules are absolutely punishing, as a bureaucrat was saying, as gone are the days that forget money being exchanged. If they can get to sleep for 6 hours or 8 hours, they shall be thankful to the new Prime Minister. So his
Gaurav, just continue to stay with me. I just want to point our viewers to those images on your screen. Let's not take these images lightly because, Rishika, remember, this is perhaps the only time when cameras will be allowed inside the Prime Minister's room, the Prime Minister's office. This is otherwise a place that is completely out of bounds as far as the media is concerned. And therefore, these images will be used over and over and over again over the next many days, weeks, months and years, because this is the one time you actually get to see the Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, inside his office. Perhaps never again pictures like these.
Well, absolutely. And those pictures that you can see, Narendra Modi was welcomed at the Prime Minister's office. He walked in and in fact offered flowers to a photograph of Mahatma Gandhi that's lying on that shelf next to his chair. And of course, Narendra Modi finally assuming office as the 15th Prime Minister of India. And interestingly, Shiv, simultaneously we've also been bringing live updates of how the Pakistani Prime Minister is in fact at Jama Masjid as we speak, offering prayers. That crucial meeting likely at around noon today. So really, Prime Minister set the ball rolling from day one of Modi Sarkar.
The ball is rolling for Modi Sarkar. It's going to be rolling much faster. Rishika, from starting 9:30 is when all of those meetings will start happening. The bilateral meetings just 20 minutes from now. 20 minutes to go. Maha Siddiqui, our foreign affairs correspondent, is at Hyderabad House, where Narendra Modi will be heading to when he leaves from the Prime Minister's office just moments from now. Huge anticipation. It's difficult to overestimate the kind of anticipation, Maha, by journalists, by observers, by commentators, both here in India as well as, in the countries that these leaders are from, especially Pakistan, Afghanistan and Sri Lanka, about what really can be achieved today.
Absolutely. While all eyes will be keenly trained at the big meeting between Nawaz Sharif and the new Prime Minister Narendra Modi, but the other meetings, as you were pointing out, with Afghanistan President and with Sri Lankan President are also very crucial. And since Hamid Karzai is the senior most in hierarchy, him being the President, he will be meeting Narendra Modi first. And the important issue of the attack on the consulate in Herat could be raised during that meeting, and also the security of Indian assets in Afghanistan and the Indians who are there could also be raised. But of course, the most important is going to be Nawaz Sharif meeting Narendra Modi. To talk more about that, Rishika and Shiv, I have with me our National Affairs Editor Javed Ansari. Javed, it appears that Pakistan is not looking at this meeting only as a photo opportunity. They have an agenda. What do you think they have in mind at this point?
Certainly, Nawaz Sharif would not have taken the trouble of coming here merely for a photo op. He wants some takeaways, and that takeaway would be an agreement on an early resumption of the negotiations of the peace process between India and Pakistan, which has stalled for the last over a year now, because especially in the last stages of Manmohan Singh's government. They are very keen to revive that, take that up from there. From India's point of view, this issue of the attack on Herat coming as it does in the light of what Hamid Karzai told us yesterday, which is that LET was involved, and everybody knows where LET comes from. So therefore, the new government of India, Mr. Narendra Modi and his government would expect Mr. Nawaz Sharif to give them some assurances that they'll turn the tap off, and hopefully Nawaz Sharif will then, and the two sides will then probably be able to agree on a timetable or for the roadmap ahead.
All right, so clearly, Shiv, Pakistan has a list that it's likely to divulge to the Prime Minister, the new Prime Minister Narendra Modi. However, India is only looking at this meeting as an icebreaker, as a means of getting to know the other side and reading their mind at this point.
Well, Maha, just stay with me for a moment. The latest is, of course, that Narendra Modi has departed the Prime Minister's office and he is en route to Hyderabad House. These are pictures from a short while ago when Nawaz Sharif, accompanied by the Imam Bukhari, the Shahi Imam of the Jama Masjid in Delhi, was at that iconic mosque in the national capital. A little after 12, as you can see, he will be holding that 25-minute, much anticipated bilateral meeting with Narendra Modi, who has just left from the Prime Minister's office and headed to Hyderabad House, where our Foreign Affairs correspondent Maha Siddiqui and our National Affairs editor Javed Ansari are staking it out. All of those leaders will be arriving as well. 9:30 is when that first meeting begins with the Afghanistan President Hamid Karzai, who incidentally spoke out first in exclusive to Headlines yesterday, when he told our editor Strategic Affairs Gaurav Sawant about how it was the Lashkar-e-Taiba which was responsible for the attack on the Indian consulate in Herat. Terrorism the nitty-gritties of relations between countries may not be gone into in the brief interactions that take place today, but like Maha was pointing out and like we've been reporting, the broad contours of a future relationship may be revealed in these all-important one-on-one meetings that take place. 8 in all, starting with Narendra Modi with Hamid Karzai, and at 12 o'clock there will be a meeting between Narendra Modi and Nawaz Sharif.
Well, absolutely. Make no mistake, Narendra Modi definitely means business, wasting absolutely no time there. So it is day one of Modi Sarkar and he's hit the ground running. And of course, while the allocation of portfolio still remains that very big question that nobody really has answers to at this point in time. In a short while from now, once those meetings are perhaps over, there will be clarity on what portfolios will be allocated to who. Remember, Narendra Modi will also be chairing his first cabinet meeting this evening at 6 p.m. And as Gaurav was pointing out a little while ago, that even yesterday after the swearing, that grand swearing-in ceremony and the private dinner that was hosted at the Rashtrapati Bhavan, Narendra Modi did not call it a night, Shiv. He in fact held a meeting even late last night and of course early this morning was at the Prime Minister's office to kickstart day one of Modi Sarkar.
And that was that crucial meeting. In fact, the portfolios are in.